Halloween
Forever. Why should you never, under any circumstances, try to fist fight a dinosaur?
Oh. Why should you never try to fist fight a dinosaur?
We know not to do it.
Yeah.
Why?
Oh, because you'll get your ass kicked?
Because you'll get your ass kicked. That is surprising that you got that one. I'm not going to lie. Welcome, boys and ghouls, to a straight up fucking dumb minisode of Halloween is Forever. I'm Brian.
I'm Steve, and that's not surprising I got that one. Because
Why?
Because
it's kind of was a stretch.
It's not that much of a stretch. I got it.
Okay.
I got it because I'm pretty sure you reappropriated something from our focus of our Patreon podcast earlier in the week. That's a line from Rich Prater on his Twitter.
Was it?
Yeah, he had a your ass kicked joke that I was running with you.
I just found that literally just on like Google dinosaur jokes, and that one came up.
I'm sure
which
you
is
did.
Frankly probably what he did as well. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
So boy, wow, that weirds me out. That I picked that from a list of dinosaur jokes, and I feel like Rich Prater. And you don't know who Rich Prater is if you're not subscribed to the Patreon. And if you're not subscribed to the Patreon, what the fuck are you doing? He is the director of a little flick called The Lock-In from 2014, which is about a church lock-in where kids look at porn and summon a demon. One of the worst movies ever made. We talked about it on our Patreon exclusive podcast, Youth Group is Forever, which if you want to go over there and subscribe, and you can get it. It's fun. We probably talked about it for like 3+ hours. Yeah. Anyway, this guy sucks in a major way. And the fact that even in some small capacity, sense of humor aligned with his on this, I don't know, makes me want to commit suicide. But if you want to learn more about Rich Prater, you got to subscribe to the Patreon. But before we get down with all that bullshit, Steve, first of all, peace be with you this wonderful Sunday morning.
No, this isn't even that show. We're not doing that shit. Fuck
Come
this shit.
on.
No,
I'm trying to get Jesus. I'm trying to get Steve slowly but surely to just get prepared to accept Jesus Christ as his personal Lord and Savior. And we haven't got him there yet. Well, we're trying. We're eventually going to save Steve's soul. And we are recording on a Sunday morning, which again is all part of my psyop. Steve, are you sipping on something this morning?
I am. And I'm actually pretty sober about it this morning, too.
Yeah.
Because I don't know. I didn't feel like the beers that I had in my fridge. I didn't feel like them, especially not this early in the morning.
Yeah. This is abnormally early for us.
Yeah, but I still also felt like I kind of wanted to poison myself, and just like there's something about soda that gives my my talking voice just a little extra boost. I feel
gives you that little baritone.
Yeah, but I got that Pepsi Lime.
Oh, bad boy! I fuck with a Pepsi Lime.
Pepsi Lime's all right.
I wish they did a diet Pepsi Lime. Not that it's probably that much better for you, but for whatever reason, I have it in my head that I can only drink, diet and zero sugar sodas. But again, they're probably giving me cancer or whatever. But boy, any type of, I love just getting a dang old Pepsi or a Coke, just squeezing a little lime in it, just throwing a little lime wedge in there.
That's way better. It's way better than what's going on here, but still, Pepsi Lime's okay. I've noticed in my years of beveragedom, I'm just a beverage boy. Like I like my sodas, I like my teas, I like beers, I like meads, I like ciders, I like it all.
Sure.
And my coffees as well. So, but I've noticed in my bevy years that Pepsi is a great base for other flavors, whereas Coke is better when it's the most pure you can get.
I see. Just straight up uncut Coke.
Right. The closer you can get to Coke in a glass bottle, the better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Everything else is stepping on the Coke and making it weaker, and it makes it worse.
I can get down with that. Weirdly enough, I prefer a diet Pepsi to a diet Coke. Coke versus
that makes
Pepsi.
Sense, yeah.
I like them both. If I get the option between the two of them, I'm probably going to take a Dr. If I've got everything to pick from, probably going to take a Dr. Pepper or Dang Squirt or something like that. But if given the option between Pepsi and Coke straight up, I'm probably going to go Coke. But I do prefer a diet Pepsi to a diet Coke.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and again, that's more of like the more you take away from regular Coke, the worse it is. But Pepsi is already just kind of generally blah. So it's better. It's just like it's better to futz with it, you know.
Yeah,
like
it's
put flavors
too.
In it. Yeah.
I get the feel. For me, Pepsi always feels sweeter to me for whatever reason. But anyway, I'm going a different direction. I'm just drinking on some old Corfy. I'm just on like a cup 5 of the Corfy. I was getting off the Corfy. It was on the Chinese, teas, which I still am drinking, but I've been back on the coffee here the last week or two. And nothing special about the coffee, but this is one of my favorite mugs here. It's got like the 3-tone mugs, and you can see on it says Rise and Shine Homemade Biscuits. That's all right. Nobody cares about what that really, the treat of this mug is when you look underneath, which you're not gonna be able to see because I'm gonna spill my coffee, but there's a little circle on the bottom and it says, 1986 Hardee's Food Systems Inc. So somebody stole this from a Hardee's in 1986, and somehow it got into my hands via a thrift store. I bought it at a thrift store
for sure.
But I do love to think about the trip that this took. This mug. It lived its life for who knows how many years. Starting back in 1986, this mug is only 1 year younger than me, and then touched a lot of lips in that Hardee's, and then God knows what else happened to it. I like to imagine it lived on the street, in a cardboard box with newspapers for blankets, and then eventually I rescued it from that thrift store, and now it lives with me.
Yeah. I mean that mug looked rather familiar. Not so much that like I knew exactly where it was from but it just like there was a time in America when you could smoke inside, and you also got actual glassware from fast food restaurants, and they just let you have it, and then you were supposed to return it with your tray, and they would clean it later. Yeah. But
back when we were a country.
Back when we were a real country.
Back when men were men. Back when men were men.
Back when men were men.
Back when men were men. Back when men were men.
Also, that cup reminded me not so much of fast food, but locally. Do you remember Pappin's?
Oh hell yeah! This is a Pappin's cup all the way.
That looks like a Pappin's mug. Yeah,
I think Pappin's had theirs, but Pappin's, if I recall, if my recollection doesn't betray me, we used to go to the Pappin's out in near Newcastle, and theirs was a little bit more of a almost a fluted shape, had a little bit of a teacup look to it.
Okay,
their coffee cups, but man, Pappin's, breakfast, lunch, or dinner, you were Pappin. That's a T-shirt. Ready? Breakfast, lunch, or dinner. Pappin's fucks. That's the shirt.
I've been trying to figure out a Pappin shirt simply because it's so obscure, and you have to like. I think I found the logo a couple times to reproduce.
Is it with the hat? Is it with the chef hat?
Yeah, it's with the chef hat guy. Yeah. I mean, it's. I found the logo and I can reproduce it on Illustrator, but I haven't had a thing to put in there.
There you go.
So I'm not just selling a Pappin shirt. Like
nope. Breakfast, lunch, or dinner. Pappin's fucks.
Yeah, because it's gotta be like the little kind of scripty font.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So it's like breakfast line, lunch line, dinner line, and then Pappin's logo, and then underneath Pappin's fucks.
Yeah.
Back in the scripty language. So yeah.
There you go.
New shirt coming.
$1 million idea, guys. Keep an eye out on the Patreon. I mean, on the social medias. We're selling it. Yep. We got a new shirt dropping.
Pappin's fucks.
Pappin's fucks. All right. Now we got them bevies out of the way. Let's talk about our showdown episode. First of all, you might be asking yourself, good goddamn, what's a showdown episode? Well, shut your fucking mouth and I'll tell you for a second. Here's what a showdown episode is. We have tasty, ooey gooey content every fucking Monday. But on the first Monday of each month, we do what's called a showdown episode. What that is our social media followers and friends and listeners and all them people, they suggest topics to us. Also, Steve and I come up with topics. We put them on this big ass spinny wheel. We spin that son of a bitchin' wheel once a month. We take 3 potential topics and we put them on the social medias for y'all to vote on. Last month, we had 3 tasty picks. We had cosmic horror. We had future writers and directors. And then we had the winning topic, which was wrestling horror. Now, we decided this could be horror movies about wrestling, involving wrestling, or about / involving wrestlers. So pretty wide rails there. But that is going to be our July showdown topic. So now that we have that topic, me and Steve are going to pick some movies associated with it. Now, typically, we do have a guest for our showdown episode. We've had some shuffling around of potential guests, so we still have not confirmed our guest for that showdown episode. We're going to wait and see. We had somebody lined up. They're not able to do it. It just, it's a whole rigmarole. But Steve and I are going to pick our wrestling horror movies today. Before we started, I pretended to flip a coin, lied, and won, so I get to pick first. No, I'm just kidding. I did win the coin flip. Actually, it wasn't a coin flip. It was a credit card flip. And Steve just had to trust me that I did not lie. He picked heads. It was tails. And so your boy's going to pick his movie first for the showdown. Although we talked about before we got on here, when Steve was questioning my ethics, I said, It don't matter because we are not going to pick the same movie. I would be flabbergasted to learn that that you pick the same movie as me. Do you have an obscure pick?
I do have an obscure pick, and I feel like that's the thing. I feel like most of the wrestling picks are going to be obscure.
You're not wrong there.
Because the 2 that I think are probably the most famous are also just bad. And the 2 that I think that are the most famous for the genre would be Monster Brawl and Wrestlers versus Pro Wrestlers versus Zombies. Because they both star like a pretty big cast of wrestlers. Like Kevin Nash is in one of them, Kurt Angle's in another one. And so we're up at those levels for there. The movies we kind of put meg rails on were movies like They Live and Predator, where you do have wrestlers in them. Yeah. But there's not much wrestling happening. But, we were saying, like, if it has a wrestler in it, we'll still take it. Yeah. So, yeah. And then WrestleManiac, I don't know what the quality is. It's somewhere in there.
I watched a little bit of it. It seems like an okay movie, not hugely wrestling. I mean, it's not that it's not wrestling related, but it's just, it's about a would-be or wannabe wrestler, but it doesn't seem to be tremendously wrestling. Doesn't have a lot of wrestling in it, I'm going to say.
Yeah. Not wrestling centric.
Yeah. Well, listen, I'm gonna not bury the lead here because I thought this was more obscure than it is, but you've already mentioned it. And my pick, because this movie, although it does seem to have quite a bit of a following, and like there's quite a bit of reviews out there on IMDb. I'm looking on Letterboxd, right? There is quite a few reviews. Almost 2,000 people have watched it. I have never heard of this movie, and I'm blown away that I've never heard of it. I've never seen it. It is not on my, has not been on my radar, and I'm excited to see it because it looks impossibly awesome. So I am picking a movie blind that I have not watched yet. It was not my initial pick. Okay. But I was looking up stuff this morning, and I had maybe 4 or 5 that I was playing with, and I watched the trailer for this, and I'm like, this is impossibly great. So I need to pick it. And it is in fact Monster Brawl from 2011. Okay. So I assume you've seen Monster Brawl.
I have seen Monster Brawl.
Yeah, I did not know anything about Monster Brawl. I'm looking at it and I'm like, it's got all these wrestlers. It's got Kevin Nash, which is great. It's got one of my favorite wrestling personalities of all time, which is the Mouth of the South, Jimmy Hart.
Yeah.
It also, and then I'm looking through, I'm like, oh, this is great. It's got a bunch of wrestlers. It's got a bunch of wild shit in here. And then I'm like, it has Dave Foley as well.
Yeah.
Which I adore Dave Foley from Kids in the Hall. Yeah. So I'm like, this is, and also it's got at least the voice of Lance Hendrickson. I'm like, guys, you've made up my mind for me. And it was one of those ones that gets me so horned up when I find a movie and I go, how have I not seen this? This is so up my alley. I can't believe it. And so this was one of those ones where I'm looking at this and I'm like, this is too good to be true. How do I not know about this? So I start looking into like the director and stuff. I'm like, did someone is someone a sex criminal involved with this movie? Is that why this has been buried and I haven't seen it? You know what I mean? But no, not as far as I can tell, at least upon first glance. So I am excited for Jesse Thomas Cook's Monster Brawl from 2011. Like, I'm genuinely chomping at the bit to see this movie.
Yeah, look, I also shared the same excitement that you did. And I'm not saying the movie's awful. I think think people should actually watch it. Like, people should watch it because it's out there. It's different. Yeah. It's different. But it
looks like a dang old pay-per-view with monsters.
Right. How I explain it and think about this movie is that it is exactly what you would do when you were 10 with your action figures.
Hell yes.
That's exactly what you would do in the privacy of your bedroom. And if somebody walked in and told you, hey, make a movie, it's the exact movie you would make. Like, I'm going to have Diesel fight Frankenstein because those are the action figures I have on hand and they're both the same size. My Diesel figure is as big as my Frankenstein, so they are the main event. Yeah. And so, like, that's exactly what you would do. But as a movie, it's not great as a movie for an adult.
I know it's not going to be great as a movie.
Yeah.
But you give me freaking... Like, it's not all the Universal monsters, but I know there's a Frankenstein. I know there's a dang Wolfman. I know there's a witch. I know there's a dang Cyclops. And they're gonna fight each other in a dang haunted wrestling. Like, it's the best version of WCW Halloween Havoc of all time in real life. It's a movie, but it's gonna feel like they're. You know what I mean? I don't really care how good this movie is. I'm going to love it for the rest of my life, and I know that already. You give me Dave Foley and the Mouth of the South, Jimmy Hart, in the same movie, and you throw in a Kevin Nash? Of course I'm in.
Yeah, so it's just definitely something that, like, hey, your little kid brain is going to love, but like it's more of a test of, like, can you love it for the entire duration?
Yeah, I'm sure that's going to drag like crazy, but
yeah. It does make me feel a little bit better about what my pick is. Okay. Because my pick is coming from a place of insomnia and upsettedness. And my brain is been fried by the movie we're talking about today, Dinosaur Hotel 3. And I combine that with insomnia and then, like, also just doing a little bit of research. And then I found this fucking movie that it is bonkers, and my insomnia crazy brain is telling me this is the best movie ever made, and it's insane that we continued to make movies after this because we should have just been all watching this movie and refining it to a sharper point.
Yeah.
My movie is Mil Mascaris versus the Aztec Mummy.
Wait. Okay, is this the same? I feel like I'm familiar with this movie, but I know one that's called, like, something about the woman versus a Aztec mummy, or am I thinking of the same one?
You're not thinking of the same one. That is that's a separate movie. So there were a bunch of movies in the 60s and 70s.
Oh yeah, I'm thinking of the wrestling woman versus the Aztec mummy.
Right. Yeah. So there was a bunch of movies in the 60s and 70s that were like luchadors. And they love fighting fucking mummies, man. They just love them.
Yeah, they really do. I'm looking on Letterboxd here. We have, of course, a movie called The Aztec Mummy way back in 57, which I imagine is probably the origin for some of this. Then we have The Robots versus the Aztec Mummy, The Wrestling Woman versus the Aztec Mummy, The Curse of the Aztec Mummy, Mil Mascaris, versus the Aztec mummy, which is of course yours.
Mm-hmm.
Which I imagine I imagine that's like the masked wrestler kind of thing.
Yeah. So like that's the other thing is like back in the 50s and 60s and 70s, it started with a wrestler by the name El Santo. Yeah. And there's a shit ton of El Santo movies. And I almost picked El Santo versus Dracula and the Wolfmen, which that movie's so fucking good because it's bad. It's bad, but it's good. And there is a scene where El Santo and kind of his partner Blue Demon, they both are wearing turtleneck sweaters and are fighting wolfmen, and that fucking rules.
Why do luchadors love turtlenecks? It's like a well-established thing. You see a turtleneck when they're dressed up cutting a promo or something like that. They're carrying their belt. They have a dang turtleneck on, and I'm like, I can't imagine a ton of occasions, And first of all, big necked son of a bitch and wrestlers, I think gotta be choking you. First of all, second of all, Mexico famously not cold. You know what I mean,
Brian? It's just gotta be a testament to the toughness.
It's the toughness. It's the toughness. Yeah. Like I love getting strangled so much that I want my clothes to do it.
I love strangling. I love getting strangled and I love sweating. And I'm going to wear this hot ass cashmere sweater in the middle of Mexico. And that's how tough I am. The other side to that is it's also just, it makes them look bulkier and bigger. Like adding that big, thicker layer.
I love that. That reminds me of an Always Sunny quote from Dennis, where he's got all of his like serial killer shit in the back of his car. He's like, "What do you do with all that stuff?" He's like, "It's fetish shit. I love to bind. I love to be bound."
So my film, it follows that tradition of the El Santo films, and I believe even El Hijo del Santo appears in my film, but this time it's taking Mil Mascaras, who was a really famous Mexican wrestler from like the 80s. He was in WWF a couple times. So but everybody, I think he is just as famous, if not more famous than El Santo, and it continues that tradition. But it's 2007 now, and I think Mil Mascaras is like 55 in this movie, but you can't tell. Like he's just a jack tan dude. But the one thing you can tell is that the entire rest of the cast is American, and Mil Mascaras is dubbed.
Oh, very nice. I like that. Yeah, I don't know much about the luchador tradition. I mean, I knew a little bit, but never really watched a lot of it. I definitely have dabbled a lot more in like the Japanese wrestling tradition a little bit more, but not so much in the Mexican. So I'm excited to see this. I do not know who Mil Mascaras is, I'll be honest. But I've seen some of the El Santo movies, and there's a bunch of those El Santo versus, the 50-foot woman or whatever. You know what I mean? There's like all those versions too. Speaking of foreign wrestling, I did consider, and actually was originally going to pick until I stumbled upon Monster Brawl. I was going to pick, which I was struggling to find a version with captions or English dubs, was Jushin Thunder Liger's Fist of Thunder from 1995, which looks wild. And I saw clips of it, but I've never seen it. I've never been able to understand what they're saying, of course, because it's in Japanese, and I was not able to locate a version with English subtitles. But it essentially looks like Power Rangers, the wrestling movie.
Yep.
And I think it even might be produced by like Bandai or something. You know what I mean? Definitely
for sure.
Yeah,
for sure. Why not? Yeah,
it is literally produced by. I'm looking it up right now. It was direct to video, first of all, in 1995, and it was produced by Bandai Visuals. So I was not imagining that.
Yeah.
And that's what it looks like. It looks like all the villains are straight up Power Ranger villains, Super Sentai villains. And so if anybody out there knows where to find that with the English subtitles, please tell me, because I desperately want to watch this. But
who got the good copy of the Jushin Thunder Liger?
Yeah, who got that out there?
It's so funny, like the directions, like they follow those paths of like the other shitty movie. Like, so like the Japanese wrestlers go into the kind of kaiju and Sentai fighter type films to to also support like their goofiness, but then like the Mexican wrestlers, they go down this path of like the hacky kind of genre films, which basically boil down to like Batman adventure films,
pretty much,
because they are all just Batman, because they're playing Mary Sues, they're super rich, they do vigilante justice, and then they also do wrestling, and then they also fight monsters. So it's like, it's just all of those things, and then they're also the best at it at all times. So,
well, that's a better comparison. I would always say they were Scooby-Doo films, because I grew up watching so much Scooby-Doo, and Scooby-Doo would just bring on people. It would just be like, here's Scooby-Doo and the Harlem Globetrotters. You know what I mean? Here's Scooby-Doo and Don Knotts. You know what I mean? And it was never really paramount to the story. It was just like saying, hey, here's our guest star, and you're going to see an animated version of this person. And so, but in this instance, they're fighting each other. The other movie that I really wanted to do, but I resisted my urge, was because it's not really horror. There are some horror elements. It's really more sci-fi, is Hell Comes to Frogtown. Starring Rowdy Piper, which is legitimately a fantastic, weird, fun movie that we should do at some point. But it is more kind of straight sci-fi. Yeah, I plumbed the depths here. In the event that you had picked Monster Brawl, I was going to go nuclear and just pick something really stupid. I had a couple coming. One called Teddy Told Me To from 2022. Which looks really freaking wild.
What is that?
And then also another one from 2022 called From Dusk Till Bong.
What?
And it does have Papa Shango in it. It does have the Godfather himself.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So at some point I am going to view From Dusk Till Bong. It looks unbelievably stupid. And then Teddy Told Me To actually looks remarkably kind of fun.
What is the wrestling connection?
I'll read the plot synopsis here. When Danny and Zoe buy an old defunct haunted attraction, they think they'll just have fun and make some money. After meeting with the realtor Jan and the groundskeeper Ron, they learn that the property has a bloody past and hire a full cast of haunt actors to work together to bring an old haunt back from the dead. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, nothing about wrestling there. Who is in it? That guy doesn't look like a wrestler. There is a wrestler in. Charles Wright is in it. Mr. Papa Shango himself is in it.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
And then I think there's one other wrestler, Drew Maverick. Isn't he a wrestler as well?
Sounds familiar, but I can't place him.
I think there's at least 2 or 3 wrestlers in it. The only one and Felissa Rose is in it as well. And CJ Graham. Wow. Former Friday the 13th, former Jason Voorhees himself, CJ Graham, is in it. Yeah. And there's a few wrestlers that make small, but it looks bonkers. Not super wrestling forward, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But there are wrestlers in it.
Okay.
I did not realize that that the Godfather himself is in as many fucking horror movies as he is. He's in a bunch of really shitty 0 budget horror movies.
Yeah, I was not aware either. He's in a lot. He also seems to be playing this character Screaming Jay Pigeons in 2 of them.
Yeah. I saw that bit of a reoccurring character there.
Interesting.
From Dusk Till Bong looks wild. I found a pretty fun little list of wrestler featured horror movies out there on the letterbox, and just kind of went down a rabbit hole there. But anyway, guys, that is going to be our showdown episode for the month of July. We're going to watch Monster Brawl from 2011, and we're going to watch Mil Mascaras versus what is it? Mil
Mascaras.
Mil Mascaras. I completely botched the spelling. Mil Mascaras versus the Aztec Mummy from 2007, guys. All right. Speaking of absolute shit horror movies, we took this opportunity to go back to the well and do another episode of our one of our favorite things to do, which is Tubi Roulette. That is when we go on Tubi. We just scroll and scroll and scroll, plumb the depths of the cesspool of horror that is Tubi. We land on a movie, and whatever we land on, we got to watch. In this instance, I spun that chamber, that Tubi chamber, and we landed on a movie that I am so pleased that, and you know, we've discussed it before. Steve's shaking his head. Tubi giveth and Tubi taketh away. And in this instance, as far as I'm concerned, Tubi giveth, because not only did I watch this movie, but I watched one of the precursor films from this as well. We are watching from the year 2024, fresh out the gates, Dinosaur Hotel 3, you guys. I am currently watching Dinosaur Hotel right now as we speak in the background, and I'm just kind of half paying attention to it. It is pretty much what you expect, but I mean, when you see, okay, here's the best way to explain Dinosaur Hotel to you. The Dinosaur Hotel franchise, dare I say. Ugh. It is Resident Evil 1. Imagine the setting of Resident Evil, the original Resident Evil for PlayStation, right? Mm-hmm. And then you smash in Dino Crisis and you make it kind of a reality show. That's this movie.
Yeah. And then you make it Squid Games.
Yeah. Then you make it Squid Games. Yeah. Where there's rich people who pay to watch people, all these terrible things happen. The first one, I'm not even going to get into the first one because we got to talk about the third one, and then I'll talk about what the first one seems to be suggesting here. And I'm just picking up tidbits from, like I said, watching it in the background for the past 45 minutes here. Steve, I trust that you were not as big of a fan of Dinosaur Hotel 3 as I was.
I just did a quick search to figure out when the original Dinosaur Hotel came out. And it came out in 2021.
Yeah. I mean, they're cranking these out, and I hope we get another Dinosaur Hotel movie every year for the next 5 to 6 decades. This is from the same production company that delivered us. So first of all, the director, who is an anomaly wrapped in a riddle. All right, Steve, I know you're a lot better at the internet sleuthing than me. The director is credited as Tyler James with a hyphen in between them. Uh-huh. And Tyler James has delivered a few different movies that we've touched in the Halloween is Forever universe, the extended Halloween is Forever universe. I'll go down through him here in a second, but he is most known for the 75 movies he's made in the last 3 years. most notably, I guess, the Loch Ness Horror, but they all, as far as I'm concerned, are in the same very much the same purview here. So he has 47 director or producer credits. That's not true. I'm sorry. He has 47 credits in general, some of which he is the director and the producer, some of which he is just a producer on. But I find it absolutely charming to go through his history here, and I'll explain why. Ready? The most recent movie he came out with here in 2024, and we're going to go backwards down through his IMDb credits. So, The Deadly Swarm, The Escapee 2, The Woman in Black, Granny Krampus, Jurassic Triangle, Dinosaur Hotel 3, Island of the Dolls 2, Shockwaves 2, The Bad Nun 3, Crocodile Swarm, Mega Lightning 2, Christmas with the Pups, Pterodactyl 2, Christmas Party, Monsternado, The Loch Ness Horror, The Madness of Humpty Dumpty, Three Blind Mice, Freddy's Friday, Mary Had a Little Lamb, Hard Copy, Dinosaur Prison, Christmas with the Prince, Jack and Jill 3, Sky Monster, Holidays at the Ranch, Viking Battle of Airs, Viking Bloodlust, The Elevator, Alien Invasion, Return of Punch and Judy, Darker Shades of Summer, Medusa's Venom. It goes on. Just got more. Island of the Dolls. And that goes back to 20 and 23. All of those movies were made and released in the last year and a half. And then even more interesting, he currently has 18 upcoming projects. 18 upcoming projects. And those are really quickly, because this is very interesting to me. This one is completed and it's coming out in 2024, Salem Witch Doll. But then these are all in production currently. The Royal Nanny at Christmas, Pups Alone, Pomeranian Christmas, Pups in the City, The Dancing Queen, A Christmas Fight, Tsunami Shark, The Royal Twin, Mother Mafia, Mountain Shark. These are all currently in production. Mountain Shark, Just Say Yes. Those are literally simultaneous movies in his list of movies that are in production. I am so excited. He's my new favorite director. I don't think he exists, Tyler James. I don't think he's a person.
Yeah, I don't think he exists.
Yeah.
I think he is a cover for some sort of, like tax evasion of some sort.
Yep.
The other way this Tyler James character touches is he, as a producer, he also has worked with that Reese Frake Waterfeld. And even though Tyler James doesn't have producer credits on those Pooh movies, you already heard in some of his credits he has like The Three Blind Mice and The Return of Punch and Judy. He also like is in on that adapting crap, IP.
Yeah. So to be clear, Pooh movies, we're not talking about they are Pooh. We're talking about Pooh Blood and Honey,
right?
And Pooh, and then the sequel of that's coming out, that sort of thing. Yeah.
And we had done one of those movies before, The Killing Tree. I don't believe Tyler James is attached to The Killing Tree in any way. But
there's a lot of the same cast.
And I swear to fucking God, when this movie started, I didn't know anything about this movie.
Neither did I.
This movie started, and I swear to fucking God, I went, is that the same fucking house from The Killing Tree?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is. I'm pretty sure it's the same house as The Killing Tree. And it stars May Kelly, who was, you might remember, a smaller character. Cindy, her and her boyfriend got killed by the pool in The Killing Tree. She's the star of this movie. She's the star of Dinosaur Hotel 3. So this is it is a like British, like UK, I would assume, tax scam. This whole production company. I found a few different like production companies that are tied to all these people. There's like Black something productions or Dark something productions. Like there are a few different production companies that don't appear to really have a website. I mean, you can look them up in like UK like public tax record websites. But otherwise, this is some sort of big weird scam that they're doing, I think, and I absolutely love it. Tyler James is a ghost on the internet. You can't find a picture of Tyler James. You can't. And the fact that it's hyphenated makes me think it's more than one person, too. Right. Yeah. And it's just it's just a mystery wrapped in a riddle, wrapped in an enigma. And I hope to someday, when everyone involved with this company and everyone is like, I would assume dead, we'll do a deep dive docuseries on just the insanity that came out of Tyler James and whoever, this entire, roving group of psychopaths that make all these movies. And I imagine make about 4 to 5 movies simultaneously too.
They have to be, like, because just it's the constant reuse of locale and just reuse of actors, reuse of assets. And like you were already going through, like they make a bunch of those bullshit, Christmas movies as well. Like, Puppies Do a Christmas, and then the Christmas Princess, or what the fuck?
Puppy Christmas Forever.
Yeah. So
Dan just said Tyler James Forever. That's our new podcast, which I'm on board for. I'm on board for.
So the other thing is, we keep saying Tyler James, but if you watch the credits to this film, it is said that this film is written and directed by Ben J. Williams, which is neither Tyler nor James.
Nope. No, sir. It could be the J, could be James. Could be.
The J.
I did not notice that. Did you look him up? Does he exist?
I haven't looked him up yet. I just remember seeing it in the credits of like, oh, that's not Tyler James.
Yeah. It's a mystery. And I intend to unravel it someday. But we should just get into the plot of this movie. Not that there's a tremendous amount of plot, but there's some real fun scenes.
I thought you already did the plot. It's Dino Crisis and Resident Evil set in Squid Games.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. But there's some fun scenes that we want to talk about here. There is a kind of early scene that does not. I imagine it maybe it ties into to Dinosaur Hotel 2. I have not watched yet. Like I said, I'm currently watching Dinosaur Hotel, the original, actively right this second. But there's a person named Clarice or something like that. She's cheated in the game in some capacity. You're like, what game? I don't know what game. And then she's fed to a velociraptor, I guess. And you're just like, well, we're getting off to a fast start here. We have no idea who this is. We have no idea what game they're talking about. I guess if you're a big fan of the franchise, which only started 2 years ago, you might understand what's going on a little bit, but I certainly didn't. And then you have this pre-credit sequence, or not. I think it's a pre-credit. Anyway, it is, It got me hooked right from the beginning because you see the behind the scenes of the titular Dinosaur Hotel, where you've got this whole cleaning crew, at the old Dinosaur Hotel, and they've kind of got like the hazmat cleanup suits, and they're cleaning up all the blood and the guts and the heads and all this stuff, which surprisingly not that messy. But when dinosaurs kill people, they're actually surprisingly efficient and clean.
Yeah.
But they are cleaning up the titular Dinosaur Hotel, assuming of the last round of whatever this game is, and they're getting ready for the next game. But yeah, this is spoiler alert. We figure out this is a Squid Game type situation.
Yeah. Can I ask, were you high while you were watching this?
No, sir. Watched it this morning.
Just
8 a.m. Drinking my coffee, just sitting there sipping my coffee. Everybody else was sleeping in. About 7:30 in the morning. I put it on, and actually earlier than that, probably about 7:15. I sat down with my coffee, just tucked in, just snuggled up, and just cranked through this and enjoyed every moment of it. Wow.
Okay. Because I watched it late last night, and it just wound up with me like having to watch another movie to get it out of my mouth, just to scrub it from me. Like if you're saying you enjoyed this first scene, I hated it, and I was like immediately annoyed because
I was intrigued.
Yeah, I was immediately annoyed because I was like, oh, okay, we're back in that same fucking house, great, and now they have this cleanup crew doing this like shoddy, just kind of. It's nothing work because they're not actually cleaning up like a bunch of blood and gore.
They're just putting stuff into plastic bags and shit.
Yeah. One guy's putting a hat on a statue. And have you ever watched the Instagram or TikTok account Chef Reactions?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, it's a chef who like watches all those like abysmal like recipe videos where it's just like dumb white women putting a bunch of shit in one pan.
Yeah. Okay. I know the type of videos. Yeah.
One of his catchphrases is "work faster," because he's like constantly criticizing like people's like onion chopping skills and shit. And so like one of his catchphrases is "work faster," and it's like I'm watching this And I'm just like, act faster. You got to move this along, because they are stretching every fucking minute of these 5 shots. Like, it's like 5 shots in this pre-credit sequence, and they're stretching every minute out of these shots to pad the runtime of a 70-minute film. And I'm like, let's go. We know what you're doing. Move it. You're not showing us anything interesting. Move it along.
This is like a tight hour and 12. This movie itself. I understand that you watch it in a different mindset as me. I was just having a beautiful, relaxing Sunday morning, and I appreciated that they were giving us the real scene, a real look behind the curtain, at the Dino Hotel that we know and love. So just giving us that little bit behind the scenes action was intriguing to me. I do want to reiterate, I don't know anything about Dino Hotel at this point, but I feel like I know it already. It's near and dear to my heart already. We have our old friend, May Kelly, from 2 movies we've watched, The Killing Tree, but she was also in, if you recall, Nutcracker Massacre, that we watched as well.
Or did we watch it? Show? No.
Oh, I thought we did it on the show.
No, you just watched it on your own.
I did. Psycho. Okay, I did just watch that on my own. I thought we did an episode on it. But okay, well, I did watch Nutcracker Massacre and talk about it with somebody. Was it another podcast?
Your children.
Yeah, it was just my children. No, Nutcracker Massacre. It's not a gem. But then she's also, for those of you who've seen Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, she's in that as well. May Kelly, the redhead from The Killing Tree, you might remember, and a lot of familiar faces from The Killing Tree and the imaginary episode that I did in my brain on Nutcracker Massacre. I think actually what happened, if I think about it, I just had a bunch of friends over and we watched Nutcracker Massacre, and I thought and talked about it amongst us, and in my brain that was an episode, but it wasn't.
Sure.
But she plays a character named Jennifer, who we figure out pretty early is making some, like, I don't know, sketchy money decisions, perhaps. That's all you need to know. And then she's walking through the park and she is chloroformed by a bunch of like strangers or muggers or something like that. And then you realize that a bunch of people, including Jennifer, were chloroformed and then put into a hotel. And that hotel may or may not have dinos in it. Each of them, when they wake up, have a number spray painted on their shirts. Everyone's, just wearing what they came in. Jennifer is wearing a skin tight white shirt with no bra. And boy, howdy, I just want to applaud her performance, because I can't imagine keeping your nipples hard for this long. Like it was a decision. It was a decision.
I don't think it was.
No, you don't think so?
No. I think it's literally, it is cold all the time in this rundown beat ass mansion that has no heat. And then there are other scenes where they are outside and they are filming in the freezing cold rain of the terrible bog island of Britain. Yeah.
Yeah. And you can see their breath. So it's clearly cold. So you might be right. It might just be temperature related. But listen. Free the nipple, right? I'm not judging here. I just was like, it had to actually hurt at some point, like if you're ever outside, in inappropriate clothing or you're going on like a long walk or something like that during the winter, and you come back and your nipples have been hard for so long that they kind of hurt. I imagine that's where she was at. I imagine that's where she was at. At this point,
and I'm willing to bet everybody was that way at some point. We just don't know it.
Yeah, she just was the one with the thin white T-shirt on and no bra underneath for the entire movie. In any case, I just want to volunteer for potential performance of the evening honors to her nipples.
Sure,
because they worked hard. But we are in this Resident Evil style mansion, which they are calling a hotel. That is the setting of One Dinosaur Hotel 3. The dialogue and acting in this movie is awful, and not in a the lock-in way, which for those of you who are about to perhaps listen to the movie that we talk about on our Patreon exclusive podcast, it's not improvised in that way. It's not like it's just there is no dialogue and there's just dumbasses improvising it. It's all very written, and they are literally reading the words, but it feels like the script was written by like an AI, and the actors were being directed by that same AI. And interestingly enough, there is an AI character in the movie. And I like to think that the AI, becoming self-aware, has written an AI into its AI script. And that is like an Inception level of AI that's happening in this. But now the dialogue is hilariously stilted and weird.
Yeah, I have to wonder, because again, I haven't seen Dinosaur Hotel 1 or 2, so perhaps I'm lost on that. But considering that Dinosaur Hotel 1 only came out in 2021, I imagine they could have employed like a little chat GPT back then. They could have done a little early version of that and written their god-awful shit script to shoot.
Yeah. I'm not listening to it actively. Like I said, I'm just watching the closed captions here, but I will say that the AI and the you know, what do they call it? The orb is the acronym I think in here is very much a big part of the first movie as well. Perhaps a larger part of the first movie than it is in the second. Anyway, so here's some of the characters. You know, we've already talked about. We got Jennifer. She is number 8, by the way. I kind of refer to him as their numbers from here on out. There's this meathead. You know, he's number 5. There's this one, like, you think maybe like kind of she's like a brainy kind of girl, but then you learn later that has some inside knowledge. She's number 7. There's this couple who I think are number 1 and 2. There is this mysterious weirdo. I forget what number she is. And then like I said, we have 8, which says 1 through 8, and 8 is our star here. So they ring this bell at the front desk because they're all arguing, trying to figure out who's who, and they're like, "What do we do next?" And one of them figures out it must be to ring the bell. So they ring the kind of bell, and the front man, they call him, comes in with his goons and explains that they have to play a series of games and they can win their freedom from the hotel and from their problems in their life, financial or otherwise. And, you know, all these people like need money or whatever, right? So there's some big cash prize. They all have scary skull face masks on. And the guy who plays the front man, I believe, also played the titular Nutcracker in Nutcracker Massacre. And he really chews the scenery and really loves that he has a cane. So they've given him a cane as a prop, and he does everything with this cane. There is a point where he is furiously typing on a computer with one hand because he won't put the cane down.
Right.
Every scene,
fucking with the cane.
Every scene, he's doing so much with the cane, and I can never get sick of it. I love watching him just really act his balls off with that cane.
He was also the killer that was turned into the tree in The Killing Tree.
Yes. Yeah. He seems to play the villain. He's kind of a creepy looking dude. He kind of plays a villain in a lot of these movies, you know, falling out of this, you know, asshole of whatever this production company is. There is also a number 3, which I didn't mention. And you could tell number 3 ain't going to last very long because they don't even have a close up shot to cut to him of. And he is an NPC. Like, you know, he's just going to get it right from the beginning. He runs outside. He's like, "I'm not playing this game." And he just runs outside. And you see the floating camera, this like orb. It's a literal orb floating around with like a kind of a robotic eye, I guess, if you will. And it is follows him around with a camera. And this is the means by which, I guess, the rich people in the Squid Game environment are the Illuminati folk are watching this game play out. And it chases him outside. and there's a fucking T-Rex in the garden, and I love it so much. This is when I was 100% hooked, is when there's a T-Rex in the garden and just munches him up. And everyone is so... There was no mention of dinosaurs up to this point. I need to explain.
Yeah.
The characters that are put into the Squid Games know nothing. There was no mention of dinosaurs. They're just like, you're in a weird situation. You're going to have to play some games. So imagine putting yourself in their shoes when somebody tries to make a run for it. Instead of them just getting like gunned down or something like you would expect, a T-Rex, a giant T-Rex, is in the garden and just eats him alive. And everyone is like scared, but scared because someone died, not scared because it was a T-Rex that did the killing. You know what I mean?
It is a huge group of non-reaction.
Yeah. It's like they know the name of the movie they're in,
right?
And they're expecting dinosaurs to be there, but they have no right to know.
Right. They have no right to know there's dinosaurs. There is only one person who even questions it. They go, I thought dinosaurs were extinct. And then at some point, somebody must have corrected them and be like, no, they're not. We've had dinosaurs the whole time. What are you talking about? Did you forget?
They are all nonplussed about dinosaurs. And to me, I thought, well, maybe this Dinosaur Hotel is famous and it's been all over the news in this universe. I don't know. But no, they had no right to believe that dinosaurs were roaming the earth, nor were they confined to this one singular hotel. We get a quick explanation of ORB, O-R-B. It's like an acronym. I don't even remember what it is. It's like something about fucking robot ball or something. It's this AI bot that's just floating around in the air, and like I said, is given the Squid Game view to the rich people. And it's funny because in Squid Game, like the whole Illuminati people are like very believable. I mean, cartoonish, but believable. These are just a bunch of like British extras, like just dumb fucks, and they are supposed to be like the Illuminati. They're sitting on a couch and they're watching on like two cheap shitty TVs. Like one's like a tube television. Yeah. And I was just like, I feel like if you have bajillionaires who have brought dinosaurs back to life to allow them to hunt people in a home for your amusement, maybe get a decent TV to watch it on, not like a little tube TV or like a shitty $180 Panasonic, TV from somebody's dorm room.
It's just one of those things that like completely ruins the immersion of the film. Not that everything else doesn't, but it's just one of those things that completely ruins it. It's an easy fix to film something differently. So like you're saying, like just to compare this to Squid Game has that big room of, billionaires, and that room is very opulent and is very separate from everything else we see in Squid Game. They have the finest foods and the finest champagnes, and everybody is dressed very nicely.
Yeah, and servants and like servants, all this stuff.
Yes. There are no servants in this. It is they dressed with their nicest like funeral clothes that they had, or costume. The women had costume dresses from the Ren Fair, and then just like a bunch of shitty fake skulls they picked up at the thrift mart. I don't know, the Pound Land, whatever it is over there. And one guy is literally just shoveling corn chips into his face like a fucking asshole.
Yeah. He's supposed to be like this like fancy billionaire. And like he's supposed to be a slob a little bit because he's like chugging wine too. But it's like, it doesn't feel like this is billionaires putting this on. You know what I mean? By any stretch of the imagination. And they're in the same house, apparently. Like you really couldn't have like a remote feed somewhere where you're safe from the dinosaurs. Which is like on a private island somewhere or something.
Yeah, which is the easy fix is to just film like one actor by themselves in like a white room, and they have a screen in front of them. And so, and like maybe you just like you film it all in silhouette. And so it just seems like one pervert in a room at a time, but they're all remotely enjoying their perversion.
Nope.
Together. So it just looks like a faceless billionaire enjoying their perversion. Instead, you just have like schlubs in the other room, just going, oh, get him, fucking gang.
Boy, we got them with the dinosaurs. The dinosaur the acceptance of the existence of dinosaurs is so great, so much so that they go and they're like, all right, everybody, you got to go up to your rooms and you get to, you have to decide if you're gonna do the game or whatever. I don't know. They basically say, like, go up to your rooms and you're gonna have, or like when the timer's up, you're done. We're gonna release the dinosaurs or whatever. And they go to the room, and the two characters standing outside one of the rooms. I think it's 7 and 8. So I think it's our main character and the other woman. And she goes, "What if there's?" She's like, "All right, let's get in this room. This is our room." And she's like, "What if there's dinosaurs in there?" Which, you just saw the first dinosaur. You're already assuming there's more dinosaurs, and also, I don't know. It's a strange concern. You know what I mean? Yeah. And she says it in such a matter-of-fact way. She goes, what if there are dinosaurs in there? And then she goes, well, there's going to be dinosaurs out here when that timer stops. And they're like, all right. I don't know why the script felt like they needed to explain why they were going to go into like the kind of safe room, if you will. But that was such a great example of the weird stilted dialogue. There's also this couple. And there's this weird scene that is kind of a non sequitur where they're sitting in the bed. They're like a married couple, and they go and they're like kind of canoodling or whatever. They're like, we're going to, they're explaining they have a daughter and they got to get back to the daughter. The daughter's staying with the babysitter. The husband makes a face, which suggests that he fucked the babysitter immediately. So like, we all know this. And then she like touches him, like, I'm not even sure where. And he kind of jerks away. And she's like, oh, are you, I'm still a little ticklish there. Or she goes, are you still a little ticklish there? And he's like, yeah, even when under stress, it's still ticklish or whatever. And I'm like, I have no idea what happened. I actually rewound it to see again what they were talking about or what she did to make him ticklish.
Yeah, it doesn't make any fucking sense. This
and it never comes back either.
No, and that's why it's got to be like this Chat GPT writing, because there are just some things where like the robot writing the script just announces shit out of nowhere that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah,
and like it just made a decision that like, oh, this is what like couples would do. Couples tickle each other. I know that from reading 150 other scripts where couples tickle each other. So this couple tickles each other too. And it's like,
well, and then it never even came back. And then right after that, the wife, who is perhaps the worst actor in the movie, which is hard to say because there's a lot of really bad ones. She goes, you wouldn't feed me to the dinosaurs, would you?
Ugh.
And he's like, no, baby, I love you. And I was pissing myself laughing at that point. I love that line.
Which again, I also have to assume is the fucking robot setting that up, because like the robot is just like, I'm gonna make this awesome beat. Watch this. Mm-hmm. You wouldn't feed me to the dinosaurs, would you? And then 60 pages later, she feeds him to the dinosaurs. Ayo.
Yeah.
Nailed it.
This is another great like Chat GPT script thing. It's 8 talking to 7, and she's like, I just want to get out of here. I just want to see my kids. I just want to see my kids. That's all I want. I just want to see my kids. She says it about 5 times. I just want to see my kids. And then 7 goes, do you have kids? Right after it. She says it 5 times within 30 seconds. And then she walks over to her and goes, you got 8 kids? Like, bitch, I literally just been saying it.
It happens between 5 and 6 as well, I'm pretty sure. And then like 5 reveals that he has a daughter he's trying to get back to. Yeah. And then 6 replies, oh, you got kids? It's like, yes, he just said it. Like,
he just said it. He said it twice now. He said it in front of everybody during the game thing too. Yeah. It's bizarre. It's really bizarre. It turns out there's a company called Firaco, I guess. I don't know.
Firaco or something. Yeah.
Firaco, maybe. Yeah, that's what it is. Firaco. And it's kind of behind the games and the Illuminati people it doesn't matter. It doesn't come back. We just know there's some sort of evil organization, of course, right? We know this. We've already established this. And Seven is trying to work. She works for an organization that's trying to take down Firaco. Anyway, the first game is hide and seek. And 4 literally just ducks behind a table at one point. They have 1 minute to find a hiding space. None of them find a hiding space, really. There's all this misty, kind of dusty, dimly lit environments that they're trying, and there's sunbeams coming through and a lot of reflection just to try to make the god awful dinosaur CGI not look god awful, at least for the first 20 minutes. And then they just give up. So it's kind of I think we talked about this with The Killing Tree, is they try to make things look okay for the first 20 minutes, because it's if people watch the movie for more than 20 minutes, Tubi pays you maybe or something.
Right.
But if somebody shuts it off in the first 20 minutes, you don't get paid. So you can clearly tell they are trying to get you to make it to a certain part of the movie, basically.
Right. If we can lock you into here, then we got ours.
Yeah. But the dinosaurs after that, they look all kind of slippery and they move sometimes at completely different frame rates than the rest of the scene.
Oh God. The Dilophosaurus literally just glitches at times.
It glitches horribly, and they keep showing the same glitched animation. It's insane. So the couple runs outside, and there's this raptor trotting at them, and it's still daylight at this point, and the raptor just moved like a PlayStation 1 animation, and I lolled pretty good at that one. The raptors also, the dinosaurs listen to the orb and listen to anybody in charge. They're just you point at the, unless they don't, in which you don't know why they didn't, Yeah. So the orb just puts a beep out, and the orb explains way too much to the contestants about why they're there and stuff. This is a real lippy AI here. They end up doing round 2 of hide and seek because somebody didn't die, I guess. And there is a line from our friend number 7, who she has all the best lines. She says to 8, quote, "Don't make a big deal about the raptor." Again, just out of context. Yeah. She's we can't go out there. And she's "Don't make a big deal about the raptor," which was a gem of a line. We're 30 minutes in, and no one has died besides the NPC at the beginning, and besides number 3. It just not a lot's happening. And then finally 5 stabs a raptor with a blunt object. They're up on the roof. It's stabs him in the neck with a blunt object, and it immediately dies and disappears. Mm-hmm. And so this is when I started to realize that this movie is actually fucking genius, because in the scope of Dinosaur Hotel, I believe that the dinosaurs are supposed to be video game dinosaurs. That's why it disappeared when he died. So that would explain why they look so bad and why they disappeared after they died. And if you think about it that way, it's pretty meta of them to be getting attacked by video game dinosaurs.
Okay, so you're thinking there's some sort of hard light projection that's put out by orb. Okay.
Yeah, it's video game dinosaurs, and that can actually interact with their environment, though. So they can kill you. They are dangerous.
Right, yeah. That's why they're a hard light projection, which is just it's what is that from? Actually, hard light projecting. That's from that's from a fucking franchise.
Lasers.
It's about it's about holograms that can actually interact with you and hurt you. And if they actually, maybe it's something that is in Dinosaur Hotel 1 that we don't know about. Mm-hmm. But that, why not actually employ that as a good idea?
Mm.
You know, like just it makes way more sense that like if you stab into the dinosaur far enough, you would actually just hit like a smaller version of the orb. Yeah, because it's casting out the hologram from itself. So there's no vital spots on the dinosaur, but if you hit the orb, you can dematerialize the dinosaur.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I need to delve deeper into this franchise, but I'm watching right now, and all I can tell you about Dinosaur Hotel 1 is it's a smaller cast, much smaller cast.
Oh, okay. And like Saw. So these are like Saws.
Well, it's got a lot, yeah, I guess, but it's got a lot of orb. The orb is having a lot of conversations with the people. The orb is very lippy. The orb is very self-aware as well. Just from reading some of the dialogue here. But I do not, it doesn't suggest anything, at least I have not read anything yet here about the origins of the dinosaur. So I'm eager to learn that. We then get this host guy that shows up and he's Billy, and Billy rules. He's got a big gun. And he pulls this big ass revolver out on Five, because Five's like the tough guy, right? Kind of the hard ass.
Yeah.
There's one. He takes them in for the second game into this room, right? It's kind of like a big dinner table. Puts everybody around the dinner table. It's like, everybody get in there. We're gonna play our game. And Five like comes over. He's gonna fight him. He pulls a gun on him, and he's like, "Ha, fuck you." And Billy's he's like the comic relief here. He's like the game show host almost. He's got like a shiny blue jacket and all that.
Yeah.
And
it's also worth noting Billy is American.
Yeah. The only one. All the rest of them are British, or I think Five might be kind of Irish, but he's American. Yeah. So he's got a gun. He's holding them at gunpoint. And he's explaining the rest of the games and how it's all fun. He's kind of a loose cannon. And he's like, all right, everybody get into the room. We're gonna do our next game. And I think she's number 2. It's the woman in the couple, and she goes, "Are there gonna be any dinosaurs?" I'm like, bitch, what do you think?
Yeah. Like, what do you think, dummy? You think they've gone to all this trouble to not have dinosaurs the rest of the way?
Bitch, it's called Dinosaur Hotel 3. What do you think?
Where the fuck do you think you are right now?
Yeah.
Do you think you're at the Dinosaur and Mummy Hotel? No.
Yeah. Well, and here's the funny part. He goes into the next game and he says, we're going to play a game of Russian roulette. But it's not at all Russian roulette. At all. But he goes into great detail to explain Russian roulette. They even talk about like Deer Hunter and all this stuff. But no, it's not actually Russian roulette. What you do is they blindfold you. They have a sheet with everyone's pictures on it, and you have to shoot at the sheet. And if you shoot and hit somebody on the sheet, that person gets chosen to be eaten by the dinosaur, not even like fed to the dinosaur. So I'll explain what happens. The first several people come up and just miss, because you're blindfolded. So yeah, of course you're going to miss. You have to shoot from the other side of the table. You're probably, like 25 feet away. And then 8 comes up and she hits it. Of course she doesn't know what she's shooting at, who she's going to hit. But you don't know who she's hit as the audience. And then he's like, all right, I got to release my friend here. And the aforementioned Dilophosaurus, which for those of you who didn't grow up with Jurassic Park like we did, Dilophosaurus is the one that has the big kind of flaps of like skin that like pop up in the like Shakespeare collar looking thing around its neck, and then spits poison in Newman's face, right? In the movie in Jurassic Park. The CGI flaps are... My kids play a free game on the Switch that I think is a PC game too that's called like Cooking Simulator. Okay. And shit glitches out all up because it's literally a free game where you just like create havoc in a kitchen and it's constantly glitching out. That's what happens to the dinosaur. It just it's the same animation where the little flaps pop out and it like screeches, and then the flaps glitch out and disappear. It's like they don't fold back down. They don't like come out or out. They just vibrate glitchily, and if glitchily is a word, and then just go away. They just glitch out.
Right. Yeah. It's what it is and what it's got to be is that the frills are a separate object, and they don't
even look connected to it.
Yeah. They're not even connected to the dinosaur. They're just moving at the same pace as the dinosaur walks around the table, and then they are just applying resize to the frills, so the frills come out, and then you can watch them shrink.
That's what it looks like. It looks like they're zooming. It looks like they're clicking on them, dragging them out.
Yes.
And then dragging them back in.
It's literally what they're doing, because they're not like on the Jurassic Park dinosaur. The frills lay down back on the neck. These don't lay down. They just shrink until they go behind the jaw of the dinosaur because they're too small. And then they drag them out again. It is like, it was one of the cheapest, most infuriating things I've seen aside from everything else in this movie. And I was just like, what a piece of shit. And we haven't really talked about it, but like all of these scenes are like the dumbest, most uninspired like games. It's hide and seek.
Yeah.
It's this weird Russian roulette thing that like lasts.
Shoot at a sheet with pictures.
Yeah. That lasts for fucking ever. Like, like why not take 5 fucking seconds to make something super bizarre, like pin the tail on the dinosaur? If you're gonna blindfold everybody, right? Make them go up and pin the tail on the dinosaur, but then like have the dinosaurs all have their heads on them. You know, it's just like, you know, like make it like a weird kind of like Psycho game of like, we're gonna make you play this fucked up birthday party game, and then if you pin the tail on somebody's dinosaur, they get eaten by the dinosaur.
Yeah.
It at least makes a little more sense and is a little more creative than like, we're going to do this dumb bullshit. And then everything else.
They are like, what is the easiest thing to shoot? That is all they're concerned about. Quickest thing to shoot.
Yeah. And that's why I hate these movies, because it's always just, it's never trying. It's never trying. When we watch Camp Blood 666 or anything else from like the Polonia Brothers, or like, you know, like, yes, they are trying to do things as cheaply as possible, but they are also trying. They are trying to be entertaining or funny in some sort of way, and also just pal around with their buddies for a weekend up at the campsite or whatever it is. Yeah. But they're trying. There's no try.
They're coming from a place. No, coming from a place of like love and admiration for the movies and just not having any money.
Yeah.
Well, and then there's just pure cynical trash, which is what this is.
Yes.
And there are some performers who are trying, but the movie, they're so like handcuffed by the absolute cynical trash of the filmmakers that it's going to be disgustingly bad and shamefully bad as well, which there is something slightly, I'm not charming. Charming's the wrong word. It's more, I don't know, I guess just entertaining to me to just see the you know, the giant seams. You know what I mean? That just exist. The seams that are the size of a canyon that just exist in the film. And also the funny decision making, because that Dilophosaurus, you know, scales or whatever they are that comes out, the flap, they didn't have to put it in there.
Right.
Why did they put it in there? Like they actually animated a different dinosaur, because the other ones are just raptors. And the first movie here, as far as I can tell, is just all raptors. And it's really terribly bad. There's just like, at some points, there's like characters just flopping around the floor, and then they just like superimpose a dinosaur standing on top of it, like munching it. It's really, really bad. This movie, they tried to add new types of dinosaurs. There's obviously a T-Rex. There's this Dilophosaurus. But when they figured out that the flap didn't work and they didn't have a solution for it, why didn't they just go, forget it? And I think the reason is they probably they contracted it out to like a 13-year-old in India. and there's no communication there. It's just like, here's what we need. And it comes back and they're like, well, this is what we have. It would be harder to email them, wait for them to get back to us and take that out than it would be to just run it as it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It costs way more to fix it than it does to just run with the bullshit that you got back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's abysmal. And then 6, who is this kind of like, I don't know. Oh, 6. Or I mean, the intro. The first one here does have a T-Rex in it too. So, but we did introduce the Dilophosaurus in this one. Anyway, so 6, who is kind of like the like voice of reason guy who is like clashing with 5. He gets his head ripped off in my favorite animation in the movie, because no blood sprays out. It's just like his head and flesh and skeleton are just like made of Play-Doh, kind of.
Yeah.
And they just tear. And then there's like really hardly any blood. It's such like there's an alarming lack of blood. And that was my favorite part about it.
It's like when you ripped apart Silly Putty. Like you stretch it to a point, but then also if you tugged it hard enough, it just snapped. Yeah, that's what it looks like. And it's all in one layer. Again, it's all in one layer because it's all shitty CGI. And it's all just, we ripped his head off and then here's a little blood splurt maybe. And go fuck yourself. Why are you still watching this?
Yeah, you're an idiot for watching this. But at this point, I want to know, do the dinosaurs understand the game? Did the dinosaurs identify the picture that was shot and then go and eat that person? I don't know the answer to that question, but I do want to tell you that I have now graduated from Dinosaur Hotel 1, and now Tubi is automatically bringing me into Dinosaur Hotel 2, so I'll keep you updated.
Great. It has to be something in the lore that like they have full control over the dinosaurs. And this has to come in like one of the first 2 movies that we don't know.
Yeah.
That Orb does control it, or like, somebody does.
So they all scatter they're basically like, hey, y'all better run. This dinosaur still hungry. And they all run. And 8 gets trapped in the kitchen, is like fighting the dinosaur, pressing on the door. She stabs it, which these dinosaurs, as soon as you hit them with something, they drop immediately. They might not be dead, but they drop and then they get back up. So imagine a giant, it's a velociraptor. It's not that big in the grand scheme of dinosaurs, but it still looks to be, I don't know, 7 foot tall and 500 pounds. And she stabs it with a kitchen knife. It drops like a sack of bricks. And she runs away. Like I said, it is still alive, but then they chloroform everyone again, sure, and they get ready to play the third game, which is Truth or Dare, which this is the highlight of the movie. They all have on ankle bracelets that if you like try to run away, it shocks you or something. I don't know. Who cares? And then they ask questions, and it's our boy Billy. He's asking the questions, and he's got them on like cards, like a game show host. And he says you have to answer truthfully. So if you answer truthfully, you're cool. If not, he opens up a like a garage door to like an outdoor building. They're out in like a courtyard kind of area. And they open up the door and nothing's in there, just growlings coming out of the door. So you're like, what's that? Well, probably dinosaurs, right? But like, what are they just gonna, what's happening with the dinosaurs? And you can tell that I don't think they knew what was going to happen with the dinosaurs when they actually shot this scene with the actors.
They did not.
What they ultimately made happen is there's a bunch of velociraptors and they're on chains. They got like a ring around their neck and they're on chains. And every time one of the contestants who are lined up facing, oh man, I'm sorry, but the second movie here, we have our friend who is the front man, and he's doing this like game show host thing. It's pretty wild. You have pterodactyls eating a woman right off the bat. Anyway, every time they answer a question not truthfully, they let go of the chains a little bit more. So the raptors that are like snapping at them get a little bit closer, right? So it's like if collectively the group decides they can't answer accurately or truthfully, I should say, enough times, the whole group is going to get eaten by velociraptors. That's kind of what you're meant to believe.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, but that's not really what's happening. So they ask different questions, and they're first the one like, "Hey, did you kill your husband or wife or whatever?" And then the guy says, "Yes, he did, but like he didn't because she died during childbirth." I don't know. So they're making all the contestants relive these like really traumatic things that happen in their life, and they may or may not need to like I guess confess something. So then they go to Jennifer and they basically say something along the lines of like, you're going to have to like, did you kill your husband? And she did, but in a car wreck. And they're like, did you wreck the car on purpose? We're not really sure.
Yeah.
And then you're like, do you wish your kids died in the car wreck? And she's like, no. But then, so they let the dinosaurs get closer. But then she's like, yes, I do. And it's like, that's subjective. Like, how can you prove that? Because then they do go to the couple, and the couple's the only one that makes sense because they asked the couple, they asked the guy, are you banging the babysitter? And he's like, no, I would never do that. And they have proof that he did. So that would make sense.
Right. You can prove that.
Yeah, the rest of them are unprovable. And then they do a thing where like, do you love your husband anymore? To the wife. And she's like, yes, I love him with all of my heart. And the thing is that she knows she's lying. So then they release the raptors even more. But how do they know she's lying? Like they're treating it like they have a lie detector.
Right.
Or and the raptors being released a little further is like the Pinocchio's nose growing when he lies.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And but even if you have that, like, okay, that kind of makes sense. But like the setup of the other questions, they can't be that subjective. Like it all has to be that very provable yes or no. And you also have to show the proof if they have it in a way that like Billy can whip out a photo and be like, oh, we knew this all along. And it's like, like, okay, then you get to say this whole scene fucking blows dog dicks because it doesn't make any sense. And it is shot in a way where they didn't know what they were doing. Like they didn't know what was going to happen. And then on top of that, it is shot outside at night in the rain with 2 giant work lights behind everyone.
Yeah.
And there is no lights in the front.
Right. So it's all like this weird, like washed out backlit thing. It almost just looks like somebody has their headlights on a car turned on or something,
It looks like they're all playing Batman because they all have just like the lights behind them and they're all just going to stand in a line and go, no, I'm here for justice. No, I'm here for justice. Oh, I'm here for justice in night.
Yeah, it doesn't work. I do love and this was right about when Kate woke up. The kids were still sleeping. She comes downstairs, gets her coffee, and comes out and sees the husband be fed to the raptors. And she's like, what the fuck are you watching? Because the raptors are like operating at an alarmingly like low frame rate. They're like just literally glitching in a pile. It's like a pile of glitching raptors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, oh my God, I fucking hate this scene. I hate everything, but I fucking hate this scene. It's so unclear. Like, it just looks like he walks at the raptors.
Well, they kind of make it so like maybe she pushes him, and I think what they were trying to communicate, which they failed miserably at, was they were so close. After that lie, they're so miserably close, within inches of the raptors being able to reach them, that all she had to do was just nudge him, and the raptors got him. But it doesn't land like that at all. No. It just looks like he slips on a banana peel and falls into a pile of glitching raptors.
Yeah, because he does like some sort of reaction, and it looks like she may kind of push him. but also it looks more like she was also trying to stop him from going and falling into the raptors. Like she changed her mind. But
yeah.
And then it cuts to a second shot, though, of him walking closer to where the raptors would be, being told he's not close enough. So he inches himself even closer to the raptors. And then it doesn't even matter because when they got the visual effects back from the kid in India, they are, like you said, they're running at a different frame rate. But that's only because they didn't have enough footage of the pile of raptors. So they put a speed, extender on it. So what it did is take something that was 30 frames a second and actually turned it into 15 frames a second. And now you have just have dog shit. It's just more dog shit. It's like, hey, we made a cheap decision.
Yeah. It's the worst animation in the whole movie. I love it so much. Hilariously stupid. Now, number one, she's all empowered because she fed her cheating husband to the raptors. And then she goes inside and she's like, now I'm going to take charge. And she's got like some sort of blunt object. She smacks the orb. And then the orb's like, you shouldn't have done that. And then just very unceremoniously just lasers her right through the brain. I thought that was fantastic because you thought she was going to like have a redemption arc. Nope. Laser through the brain. She's dead.
Yeah.
And then 5 there's like this raptor that's like sneaking up behind him. He turns around and gives some what I can only describe as like the Bradshaw clothesline from hell. to a CGI raptor. And then maybe he gets bit or maybe he doesn't. He's acting like he did, but there's no blood. And the raptor, its mouth was open, I guess. I don't know. 7 and 8 are like, we got to get to the control center. And we're like, what control center? But don't worry about it. 5 finds a shotgun. Where'd you get it from? Oh, I found where their weapons are. Why didn't you get more? I don't know.
Why didn't it is this scene in this rundown ass mansion is like it is the funniest for me because you have 5 kind of disappears and then what's the girl's number? Is it 4? Who's
4 is the blonde girl.
Is it
I
4?
believe. Yeah.
Okay.
Because 1 and 2 are the couple. 3 got eaten first. She's 4. 5's Irish. 6 is
eaten by the Dilophosaurus.
Eaten by Dilophosaurus, and then 7 is the one woman, and 8 is our other girl. Yeah.
So 4 is down in the basement, just wandering around by herself, and it is obviously just like all of these sets are just untouched. Like it's just an unclean mansion, and in the background, as she's creeping around all of these like storage shelves, there is just a huge box of Heinz baked beans just to remind you how British they are.
Everyone has their war chest of beans.
Yeah. Boy, do they love Heinz baked beans over there. Specifically Heinz. They love it. But she also lets out the funniest yell when the raptor surprises her and then 5 surprises the raptor with the shotgun. It's the funniest yell in the whole movie.
Yeah, it's a good one. This whole scene's funny because he blasts the raptor with the shotgun. Yes, this whole scene is fun. I just an update on Dinosaur Hotel 2. They have integrated the like rich people watching it type of thing, but it appears to be more of a televised reality show as opposed to a Squid Games style like private audience. And the lead woman and her, I assume, daughter from the first movie do return in the second one, but they are nowhere to be found in the third. So, and the guy who plays the front man in this movie, who you don't see his face till the very end, does appear to be the big main villain in this one, and he is the game show host kind of guy, and he's just like, there's a lot of scenes of just him by himself arguing over the phone or at a computer, so it's looking pretty fucking boring.
Is he doing a lot of cane work at least?
No cane work, but he does have all of his necklaces, all of his jewelry and shit, So I'm hoping that at some point towards the end, he gets like mauled or whatever. And now you learn why he has a cane. That's what I'm expecting to have happen. But he has no mask. He's just himself here in this one with a suit. And again, a lot of unnecessary jewelry. Anyway, the 7 and 8 get to the control room and they're like, we're in. Okay, let me figure out the codes. I can't remember the last part of the one code. And she's like, you can't remember the last part of the code? I can't remember the last part of the code. They just keep repeating it over and over. And then she's just like, and you think it's going to be this dramatic thing where she's like, no, you got to remember it. Think hard, blah, blah, blah. And something happens. She just goes, fuck. And that's it. That's it. We made our way to this control room. There is no thinking of it. It has been forgotten. Let's move on to plan B. I would have thought that you would have tried to remember it before you got to the control room, but that's okay.
But I thought she eventually got it though.
Did she? I'm not even thinking.
Here's the movie falls apart. Because they do this stuff with the codes, and then an alarm starts going off in the house, and it appears that whoever's in charge loses control of the dinosaurs.
I know, but I thought that alarm got set off because they messed up and didn't put the right code in. Yeah. But you're right. It does seem to throw the entire Dino Hotel into chaos.
Right. So, again, it's written by ChatGPT, so why fucking try to parse it out? Ugh. I didn't bring it up yet, but the whole thing where it seems like everybody has similar traits, and the one thing we've been introduced to already is that everybody has kids for some reason. Yeah. 5 has a kid, the couple had a kid, 8 has kids, and then they go to the outside game, and then everybody had killed somebody, except for the one couple were like, we had never killed anybody, so ask us whatever. But that's just Chat GPT repeating itself. It only knows stakes of one kind. It's kids makes people feel worrisome about what might happen to this character. You don't want bad things to happen to this character. Oh, they have killed somebody. That is high stakes. Killing is high stakes. And now the next thing we get is just repeated betrayal. Because ChatGPT gets in a stuck loop of the repeated betrayal. Betrayal is stakes. Of look, now they are betrayed by the dinosaurs, but now
twist.
Yeah, twist here. Now
insert twist.
And
reverse the twist.
Reverse the twist. Now 4 betrays 5, and 5 betrays 6, and then they all get betrayed, and then everybody gets shot. Shooting. Yeah. Shooting is the stakes of climax.
Yeah, it's fun. This entire, we're in the last couple of minutes and everything has fallen apart descended into chaos. Quick update from what I'm deciphering from Dinosaur Hotel 2. It appears that there is one rich woman who oversees this reality show that is pretty much for her own pleasure, maybe. I don't know.
Sure.
And there's one woman who's won and then has blackmailed her into doing another season of the show, which is called Dinosaur Hotel. And has now tricked her into putting up $10 million of her own money. I don't know. It looks very boring. There's a lot of just dialogue between a couple of people. Anyway, this is one of the best parts of the movie. I love it so much. Billy is just standing there, and there's dinosaurs around, and there's a bit of a standoff. And then there's a big skylight over top, like a Batman movie or a fucking Mission Impossible movie or something like that. A T-Rex falls through the skylight and smashes Billy, and it falls through the skylight like an animated, item falls from the plane it's supposed to be on onto another plane below. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It just falls like it's 2D almost. It just falls down and crushes Billy and lands on its feet. And it's great. I absolutely love it.
I have the note, absolutely not. Like, I was not having it. I was like, I'm not even going to entertain whatever you just attempted there. Like, did it try to jump? Nope, I'm not even going to think about that. Just absolutely not
walking?
to that.
Was it just walking up on the skylight and fell through? Was the Tyrannosaurus Rex just on the roof? Just a happenstance? It was hanging around up on the roof?
Yeah. Nope, I'm not going to entertain any of it. I'm just, nope, fuck you, movie. Go fuck yourself. You don't treat other people's right. You don't respect yourself. So why the fuck am I gonna just give you any time of day?
Just the insane cynicism mixed with the wild insistence on doing things like this is just, I love it. Why do this? Don't have to. Shouldn't. Decided to do it. There are pterodactyls now. The pterodactyls are a much bigger part of the first two movies. I will tell you that. They barely show up in the third movie, but they do show up a little bit here. In this part, they don't really do anything. Then 4, we learn, is like crazy, and she is a daughter of like one of maybe the Illuminati people, or she is somehow like family or connected with the Illuminati people who are putting on the whole contest here. And shoots 7 for no reason, I guess. It's not explained at all, just besides she's crazy. She's related to Billy. We know that because he calls him Uncle Billy. Anyway, then there's like a showdown with her and 5. And she's like holding a gun to 5 and I think 8 at this point. And she shoots 5. But later he comes back and he is not shot. But then she gets snuck up on kind of by a dinosaur, by a raptor. The raptor's still several feet away. Instead of her just shooting the raptor, she drops her gun and decides to be eaten by the raptor instead of shooting, which I thought was a bold decision. Then the place fills with gas for some reason.
Yeah.
And the only contestants left are 8 and 5, and they are outside now, and they the front man's out there with his goons. He's doing a lot of cane stuff, and they are tied together by a long, like, heavy rope, and it was again, he has not been shot, don't worry, even though he was in the last scene and like was dead. They explain that the next game is tug of war. So you have this, like, what appears to be a pretty large, muscly guy, and this like 120-pound woman, and they're going to do tug of war. So you're like, well, something's got to happen here where she's got to outsmart him, or he sacrifices himself, whatever. And it's not really clearly shown what is actually happening, but what it's supposed to be is there's a T-Rex. And the T-Rex is half the size of the fucking hotel. It's humongous, right? It's like it's not quite Godzilla size, but it is a humongous T-Rex, it's right?
Bigger than an actual T-Rex would be.
Oh, way bigger. Yeah. Way bigger than an actual T-Rex would be. Like dragon. It's like the size of a dragon Game of Thrones or something like that, right? And it is tied up in the middle. It has some sort of big giant like neck ring that makes sure like yeah, around its neck, so it can't, stray too far. And then you have this big long rope, and apparently, I think what they're trying to communicate, in whatever like coke-fueled writing binge that they came up with, or perhaps just the AI came up with this, but they're going to do a tug of war, and whoever gets dragged in the middle is now in the range of the T-Rex to eat them, right? And neither of them seem to be trying very hard. And it's unclear whether one of them is winning or not, or really even where the T-Rex comes into play.
Yeah.
But this is what I think they were going for, but they just, again, failed miserably, not unlike the raptor scene with the chains before. And so I guess it can reach the loser, essentially. So you have this tiny girl and this big buff guy, and she just wins inexplicably, just wins. She just pulls him. Doesn't look like she's even trying. It doesn't look like he's trying. But she just pulls him in, and he is chomped by a T-Rex that is much, much smaller than the T-Rex we just saw. Like a third of the size. The head of the T-Rex that actually comes down and chomps him is roughly, I would say 30%, maybe less, the size of the T-Rex we just were shown. So,
yeah. It also, the rope and distance between the two of them were shown.
Yeah.
Changes because, like you're saying, there's a wide shot in which we see the T-Rex as, gigantic, right?
Right.
But we also, if you look at the frame, you can also see 5 and 8, reasonably distanced away from the T-Rex. But when we go back to the normal shot between them holding the rope, like there's probably about 10 feet of rope between the two of them,
Yeah. Just a regular size rope.
It is.
So just the spacing and dimensions of all of this are so fucked up. So now 5 has been eaten. So 8 is the final survivor, right? The person that we knew as the star of the movie from the very beginning. So then she goes in. We finally see under the mask of the front man, which we don't care about. It's the guy who I'm watching here in the second movie, and he gives her a bunch of papers to sign, and she's like, "What is this?" He's like, "It's an NDA." And I don't think, guys, that's how NDAs work. I've had to sign NDAs before. They say nothing about dinosaurs, and I'm pretty sure an NDA does not relinquish your responsibility for murder.
It does not.
Or by putting on, like, if you're doing product development, perhaps, or like long-term planning, and you don't want a competitor to find out, that's what an NDA does. An NDA doesn't relinquish your ability to be prosecuted for doing dinosaur murder.
Yeah.
So I think if I signed an NDA, I would just go, FBI, there's people doing dinosaur murder out there.
Right.
So what are you worried that's going to happen? They're going to go find the people doing dinosaur murder, then come back to you and say, we did arrest the dinosaur murder people, but also you're going to jail for breaking the NDA. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That the dinosaur murderers made you sign against threat of your life, right?
Yeah, under duress,
so again,
which is also another reason why you can't sign contracts. They have laws about that too.
Yeah. I just love that. She has to be so stupid to believe that this NDA thing is real.
Yeah.
And that makes me very happy to imagine she's that stupid.
Yeah. I mean, she definitely is that stupid with the way it ends. But like, before we get there, like, I was so fucking mad when he took his mask off and it was the guy from the Killing Tree. And he has a wonky eye. And so when the guy takes his mask off, he looks like Jeff Daniels from Dumb and Dumber. When Jeff Daniels is making a face, I'm like, it's that fucking guy again. I hate this so much. There's also just a really lazy editing mistake in this scene. Yeah. For no reason.
Okay.
But he hands her a pen when she asks what this is. He goes, it's an NDA, and hands her a pen. And then she's like, well, what happens if I don't sign? They cut to a 2-shot of him picking up another pen. And then they cut back to a shot of him, and then he picks up a gun. What? What the fuck?
So here's the thing I love about the NDA too, and not to harp on this, but couldn't they just say, if you say anything, we'll kill you? Isn't that better than? Isn't that like?
Yes,
we've established they want to murder people.
Yes.
Yeah. Nope. NDA. I love it.
We'll kill you and your children with dinosaurs. Because we have dinosaurs and unlimited funds, you stupid bitch.
And we also have already kidnapped you once. We know we can get to you. But no, NDA. NDA is necessary. I love that. I love that added complexity here. If you'd hate that guy from who was the front man, you will really hate
Dinosaur Hotel too.
Dinosaur Hotel 2, because it is almost all him talking into a microphone on screen or talking on the phone.
God.
And they are doing Dinosaur Hotel reunion, where they have past contestants of Dinosaur Hotel that have won coming together for like an all-star contest.
They only had one movie before that.
Don't question it. Anyway, so then 8 signs the NDA, and then she's just dumped on the side of the road from a van blindfolded. And guys, that's the end of the movie.
But
it's so abrupt.
It's also the best line reading in the entire film is
get the fuck
out of the van. It is so
get the fuck out of the van.
It is said with the exact disrespect that the rest of the movie provided you as a watcher. Is like,
yeah,
it is the best ending because it should be the ending to all of these films, is somebody just being tossed out of a van and screamed at, get the fuck out of the van, because now it's over and you know it's over. And then it just cuts to black while she's just standing in the dark like an asshole.
So anticlimactic. It's like the entire third act is missing. They hit their minimum runtime. Mm-hmm. They got you to watch it this long. Really what it should be is a curtain call with the entire cast standing in front of the mansion, giving you, the viewer, a double middle finger.
Yeah.
That is what it should be.
It should be all spreading their cheeks like goatsy and saying, ha ha ha, you idiot.
You goddamn fucking morons. There is an alarming lack of dinosaurs in the second one. It's just a bunch of people standing around talking or talking on the phone.
Ew.
And there is, hold on, no. There is now a stampede of velociraptors that are running. They're all different colors. They're like the contact with the ground is not good. So it kind of looks like they're walking on air. It's pretty good. Anyway, and that's the whole fucking movie, guys. So I would urge you to watch all three of them back to back to back. Mm-hmm. They are short. They are all. Let me see how long the second one is here. It is tight hour 20. I think the first one is about the same, and then the second one is like an hour 10. Right, so you can crank through all of.
Third one's an hour.
The third one's an hour 10. Yeah. So you can crank through pretty much all of these pretty damn quick. And I would strongly urge you to do so.
I would not. Yep. It is, they are disrespectful to you. Stop watching these guys' movies and giving them the 5 cents or whatever it is they get from Tubi for watching. Mm-hmm. Don't give them any more. Stop supporting them. Don't support Pooh and Blood and Honey 2. I know it's on VOD now. Don't support that because they already have planned for like the Poohniverse and
the Poohniverse.
Fucking Peter Pan and Bambi movies. Don't watch those.
You don't think you want to see Winnie the Pooh versus Dinosaur Hotel?
I don't. Dude.
Oh, all right.
Don't want to watch any of these anymore. They are bad in a bad way. They are anti-art. They are like appropriate behavior behind the camera. Yeah. I imagine we think it's the end of the movie, but I actually imagine that's how that actress got dropped off at her house. Like that's you're done working. Get the fuck out of the van.
Fuck out of the van. Yeah. I love imagining how these tie into real life, you know.
Yeah.
But anyway, guys, that was Dinosaur Hotel 3 from 20 and 24. Let me remind you as well, get ready for next week because we're going to talk about Monster Brawl 2011 as well as Mil Mascara versus the Aztec Mummy from 2007. We're going to do some wrestling. We're going to do some good old fashioned wrestling. There's going to be some European uppercuts, you know, some chops, just chops all around for the entire next Showdown episode. So that should be a lot of fun. As always, if you haven't already, go follow us on the social medias at Halloween is Forever on Instagram, Hallow Forever on Twitter. We're on the other stuff as well. Go out there and do it. And then if you want to tune in to what I'm having a lot of fun with and Steve is really disliking and which gives me more pleasure is, of course, Youth Group is Forever, which is our Patreon exclusive podcast series, patreon.com/Halloween is Forever. All right, Steven, any final words as we wrap up this glorious minisode?
I like that the actor who played Billy in this, his name's Derek Miller. And I want to say that out loud for everybody because he scrubbed his name from the IMDb of that. Although he still accepts that his credits for Monster Nado and Fire NATO, made by the same crew of jackasses. He still lets those exist on his IMDb, but don't let him slide and forget about fucking Dinosaur Hotel 3.
You're proposing we do kind of a scene kind of like from the end of with Christoph Waltz from the end of Inglourious Bastards, where Brad Pitt and the other guy carve they're like, you're going to take off that fancy SS uniform, and they carve the swastika into his forehead.
Yeah, right? And it's like, you're going to walk around here and act like you weren't in Dinosaur Hotel 3. That don't work for me.
And by that, I cannot abide. So we have to carve Dinosaur Hotel 2 on his forehead, is what you're saying.
Yes.
Or maybe just a Tubi logo symbolically.
Tubi logo, or just something. Yeah, something representative of his time in England. Fucking being a jackass with these jackass movies. Honestly, one, he's not allowed back in America. And two, if Germany
don't show your face over here.
Yeah, and if Germany ever starts bombing Britain again, I'm not helping.
You heard it here, folks. Not allowed back in America, and Steve ain't on board. Ain't on board to save your ass if Germany starts fucking around again. You ain't gonna have our help. You ain't gonna have the Halloween is Forever crew's help. So sorry.
Don't look to us.
That ship has sailed. All right, boys and ghouls. For the Halloween is Forever crew, I'm Brian,
and I'm gonna see if I can pirate Dino Crisis.
Do it. Bye. That's my raptor impression.